Alright, graphs of square root and cube root functions. So we have y equals cube root, the root of x below. Now this is asking us what times what equals y, or x. So if we put in 8, the value would be 2 coming out. Because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 27, the cube root of 27 will be 3. Because 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. So they give us a regular graph, and they want us to figure out what this equals. There's a lot going on here, and it's a multiple choice question. So what I like to do on multiple choice questions, and I have graphs, is I start plugging in numbers in this equation and see what pops out. And I try and separate the graphs out. So we can look at these 4 graphs and see what's similar. Well, they all go straight up and down at the same point. It goes up and down through x is 3 and y is 2. X is 3, y is 2. X is 3, y is 2. X is 3, y is 2. So we plug in 3. I'll bet you we're going to get a 2 out. 3 minus 3 is 0. The cube root of 0 is, cube root of 0 is 0, times negative 2 is 0, plus 2 is 2. So putting in the value of 3 does not help us out. However, putting the value, let's say, if we put in 4, well, we know if we get negative 1, then we know it's got to be, it's got to be A. If we get out positive 6, we know it's got to be B. If we put in 4 and we get out, looks like a 0, then it's C. If we plug in 4 and we get out a 4, then we know it's D. So 4 will differentiate this problem for us all across the board. Looks like negative 2, positive 2, does the exact same thing. It'll tell us the answer because the value of 2 goes somewhere different on all these graphs. So 4, I'm going to pick 4. 4 minus 3 is 1. The cube root of 1 is 1, because 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Okay? Now, if you don't know what I'm doing here, I am simply, where did it go? There it is. So, I need to zoom out a little bit. So I'm writing down the equation, cube root of x minus, what was it? 3 plus 2. Alright, so I am plugging in the value of 4 into here. Okay, so 4 minus 3 is 1. The cube root of 1 is 1. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2, and the negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Alright, so which one was that? 4 going to 0. It is C. The other way you can look at this, so we can see the regular graph. Well, when we have a negative 3 here, it means that the graph is going to move to the right 3 spots. And then our plus 2 means it's going up 2. So we go right 3 spots, up 2. That's where our origin is, or our center of our graph, kind of like where this was right here. So it's going to go over 3, up 2. And then the negative 2 out here does 2 things. It flips it upside down, so you can now see it's going down, going to the right, and going up to the left, where before it was the exact opposite. And it's also been getting bigger. It's stretching out. So as our x values increase, our y values increase by 2 times as much. Okay, next question. Alright, so once again, we're going to try and see how we can differentiate our answers. Okay, so first, let's look at all the graphs. So there's a lot that are all underneath. Well, right now, if I plug in 0, I'll get no answer. Or at least I should get no answer for D, no answer for C. But B and A, I will get an answer. So let's just plug in 0 right now and see what happens. If I get an answer for 0, I have my answer. Because if it's just above negative 6, I know it's A. If it's just above 4, between negative 2 and negative 4, I know it's B. If I get no answer, it's C or D. So 0 plus 3 is 3. Alright, so it's y equals negative, and then x plus 3, plus 5, minus 5. So 0, I think we get an answer for this one, so we're going to be able to know the answer right away. 0 plus 3 is 3. The cube root of 3. Now, if you don't know how to do this, I don't think I've shown this video how to do this yet. Okay, so we can see our square is here, and our square root is there. Those are inverse functions. Well, this is our caret. This is if we want to use an exponent that's anything but 2. Or like for 3, for example, equals 512. Now, if I want a cube root, what I have to do is type in the number I want. So cube is for 3. And then you see that button behind the caret? That now puts that 3 in for the x. And we have a square root button, or a root button, I should say. And we are putting in the value of 3 for this right here. Okay, we'll zoom out a little bit more. Okay, so my answer is 1.44. I'm going to subtract 5. And I get negative 3.57, or 557. I'm going to just round to negative 3.5. So which value, or which graph gives me a value of negative 3.5? And that is B. Remember, C and D, we don't even have a value for 0. So we know it must be B. And somehow I did it wrong. Oh. So I did this cube root here. I forgot the negative sign out front. So it's 1.44, but it's really a negative 1.44. So there's my negative sign. Now my answer, negative 1.44 minus 5, is negative 6.4, which means that my answer is actually A, not B. So there's this original negative sign out front. I forgot to add to my equation. Okay, next question. All right, cube root again. So let's go through, look at the graph, see what's different about them. I always start at 0. So 0 here gives me between 2 and 3. 0 here is between negative 2 and negative 4. 0 and 2. And between 0 and negative 2. So once again, 0 will give me an answer. All right, so 0 minus 4 is negative 4. The cube root of negative 4. Remember, I got to hit 3 first. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Just trying to get autofocus. All right, it's not working. There you go. So the cube root of, what is it, 4? Negative 4. Gives us negative 1.58. We're timesing that by 2. And then what's the rest of the equation? Oh, that's it. Okay, so our value is negative 3.17 and negative 3.2. So between 2 and 4. Negative 2 and 4. There it is, D. Oh, what did I do wrong this time? Oh, I picked 0 and 2. That's not the right one. Jeez. Here we go. Here's between negative 2 and negative 4. Going too fast here. All right. Next question. All right. So once again, let's look at the graphs. 0 has no value here. 0 has a value of 4 and 5, between 4 and 6, so right around 5. 0 goes to right around 1, and no value. So we have 2 no values and 2 that give us different values out of it. So let's try 0 first. Negative 0 minus 1 is negative 1. You cannot square root a negative number. So we know our answer is either A or it's going to be D, because we have no value at 0. What we do know is we have a lot of values going in one direction on A. These are all positive values, and these are all negative values. So if I just plug in any number and see if I get a value out of it. So let's plug in, I'll pick 10. All right, so I'm going to write this equation out first. Y equals square root, oh, there's a 2 out front, negative x minus 1, and then plus 3. All right, so we're going to plug in 10 here. I'll plug in 4, actually. Or, that 4 is fine. All right, so we're plugging in 4. So, negative 4 minus 1, or we're plugging in 4. I'm circling up top right. Negative 4 minus 1 is negative 5. Well, we can't square root a negative number again. Now is a positive number. So if we made this negative, our negative 4 up here negative, that makes our 4 positive. 4 plus 1 is 3. And now we have a value. So we know our negative numbers have values. Our positive numbers do not. So that means that it's going to be the last one, I think. Yeah, D. So we already confirmed that there's no 0. So we know that's the case, and that means that B and C are not answers. Then we plugged in a very positive number, which is 4, and it gave us no value. It gave us a value. I just stopped what I knew we were going to have a value because I was able to eliminate enough information. And we are done.